Hi everyone, my name is Heather Havenwood, and I am super excited to have you here today. I am a serial entrepreneur, but I'm also a marketing and sales coach, and I work with so many different people that are expanding their business online. And I'm super excited today to have someone here that I've had the opportunity to meet and to connect with. He's really good at helping people, basically myself and entrepreneurs, to really be able to expand their business in an easy way. So I'm super excited to hear and have you meet Nathan. Nathan, are you there?
Heather, I am here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So Nathan Hirsch is a serial entrepreneur as well, just like me. We have that in common. An expert in remote hiring and e-commerce. He started his first e-commerce business out of college dorm room and sold over $30 million online in products and services. And he is now the co-founder and CEO of freeup.com, a marketplace that connects businesses with pre-vetted freelancers in e-commerce, digital marketing, and much more. And of course, he's regular on podcasts. Well, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I love talking about hiring and FreeUp and everything that goes with it.
Great. So something that we were talking about, like, as you know, my company, I actually help people launch people's podcasts. I actually help them get on other people's podcasts like this, guesting, as well as doing sales and marketing. And we've talked about offline about how challenging it is as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur, to really be able to grow and expand. And we talked about the different systems. So let's just talk first about systems and structures and scaling in today's world.
Yeah, I mean, the gig economy is booming right now. I mean, if you're not taking advantage of hiring remote workers, then you're really missing out. And what goes along with hiring them is coming up with the systems and the processes that go with them and really figuring out what do you need. So I like to think of it as two different ways to hire people for your business. The first way is taking things off your plate, getting your hours back, and coming up with a list of things you do on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis, and creating systems for that. I have a 3-month rule where I don't do anything longer than 3 months, at least in the day-to-day operations, without coming up with a system and taking it off my plate. Now, the other way.
Hold on. It's not a teaching moment, right? Hold on.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about that. So first I'll look at the camera. You're not looking at the camera. Let me know if you know that.
Sorry, I'm used to using the other camera. We switched on.
Yeah, that's fine. No big deal. But so as far as that, so let's talk about systems. You have a 3-month rule, right? So that you don't do anything for more than 3 months. I love that. That's impressive. But some people might be going, well, what does that mean? If I'm hiring someone outside the United States, one, if they're not in the United States, they're expensive. Or if they're outside the United States, they're not, but then they need so much hand-holding. How do you actually create the system?
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing right now. I just hired another VA, actually 2 of them, that I'm putting through my process. So I have an 80-page document that I've spent 3 years working on. I didn't just wake up one day and write 80 pages. I slowly built it up. Every time I came up with a process, I wrote it down. And once I got my own team, I made it their job to update this document as we go along. And once a month, I would just check in and look at the doc. And if it wasn't up to date, I wouldn't yell at them, but I would figure out why and reinforce that it was part of their responsibility. So over the time, this document got longer and longer to the point where it's pretty good and it's pretty long. So now that I'm hiring someone and my business is a little bit bigger, I need to value my time at the highest level. So what I do is the first 3 days, and I'm paying them for this time, these new VAs are just reading the document and asking questions. And I'm being supportive. I'm encouraging them to ask questions. I'm telling them that to let me know what I can do to help them be successful. But at the end of those 3 days, I'm quizzing them on that document before I start investing my real time into it. So either they understand the material or they don't. And if they do, then we'll move into one-on-one training. Luckily now I have VAs that'll also help with that. But in that first initial group, I was the one doing that training. So that's what I recommend doing it, whether it's videos or documents. It could be 3 pages long, but give them an opportunity to go through it and learn it and then quiz them on it before you really invest your time on one-on-one training, because
do you segment it out in each particular kind of job or each different task? Is it one big, huge document for your whole company? Because there's obviously graphic people are different than programmers, different podcast editors, different assistants. Do you segment that out or do you do constant cross-training?
Yeah, so I don't do constant cross-training. If you think of my business, you've got the accounting team, the recruitment team, and my team of assistants that handles with clients. So everyone has their own different stuff, but some of it goes together. For example, our billing day is every Thursday. Well, billing day involves accounting, but it also involves my assistant that talk with clients. So they need a system. Hey, at 8 o'clock, we do this. At 9 o'clock, we do this. So a lot of times it has to do with the actual situation and how to solve every situation, because stuff pops up out of nowhere, than every single process or every single part of the business. I also hire people at different levels, which this kind of gets into what I was trying to say before with turning weaknesses into strengths.
Mm-hmm.
So with taking stuff off your plate, you're hiring basic level people and showing them your system, your process. For weaknesses or strengths, I'm hiring mid-level specialists or expert level consultants to come in and do something that I can't teach them how to do it. I can't teach a graphic designer how to become a better graphic designer, but I still need to hire graphic designers.
Right. Okay, got it. So, because you, like you said, you can't create talent. You know what I mean? So I think that lots of times we talked about this before, is that I think that a lots of times is the entrepreneur like ourselves does everything ourselves, or we rely on high-end talent, like graphic designers one. I rely on high-end talent people to really do the work for me. But I know that there's high-end talent too in the Philippines. But my challenge is, and it comes across with my clients too, how do you sift and sort? How do you start to hire that in such a way where if someone leaves, it doesn't hurt your business, doesn't slow your business down? We talked about this before. I had someone who was my editor, but he was also a lot more, and he left after a year and a half, and it really halted a bunch of projects. And I can't do that. It's money versus time, right? So how do you do that in such a way where someone leaves or not, and they're all over in the Philippines and nothing gets cogged in the wheel? Do you just spend your days just managing people?
So I had a situation, this was before Free Up in my Amazon business, where I spent 6 months training this internal employee to do everything, because I thought, hey, it could help me sleep better at night. They can handle every part of the business, listing, customer service, everything. So when I was done, great, it's time for me to take my first vacation. First day of that vacation, the person quit on me. So 6 months down the drain right there, and I have to start over. But I learned a very valuable lesson as a young entrepreneur to really departmentalize and to really make people earn it. So the people that run my billing, the people that run my recruitment, the people that run my assistants, not only are they with me for life, in my opinion, because I built that relationship, but I also treat them very well. Their pay goes up as the business goes up. Yes, there's a chance they quit, but I do everything possible to avoid it. And for the roles that I can't possibly do that for everyone, I'm departmentalizing, where I teach people to do specific things. And yes, over time, I'll slowly teach them more, but I very rarely fall into a situation where it takes me more than a week or two to get someone going again. My business can't stall for 3 months.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So when someone leaves, how long does it take you from hiring to onboarding process to get them in the system? What's that time frame? And let's be clear for people listening. You're most likely hiring people in the Philippines at this time. Is that correct?
So Free Up is $5 to $75 an hour, US and non-US. I use people in the Philippines for day-to-day operations, and I use US people for stuff like my Facebook ads and the higher level stuff. And then I also have the mid-level people. They're US, non-US. Some of them are India, like my graphic designer. It doesn't really matter.
Right. Okay, great. So that also the next question I have, people might be thinking as well, how do you manage all that? Is there a particular system or structure that you have where everything's managed and you're controlling all the assets? The reason I share this is because this has happened to me quite recently, where, again, this person took the assets, meaning the things that they were working on when they left, they took them. And that's stuff with clients. They actually took the content, right? So the question I had was like, how do you protect your content, right? And how do you structure that in such a way where everything's in-house and people leave and you still have that content?
Yeah, and you asked the speed question before too, and it kind of all goes together. So, I mean, one of the reasons that I built the Free Up platform is based on all those risks of using other platforms, based on all my experiences that I had. And we wanted to create a way where the freelancers wanted to be there, they were happy to be there, and they also don't want to get removed, because that is the best way to get results, when people actually want to be there. So What we did was we created a platform where we get hundreds of applicants every week. We take the top 1% based on skill, but also attitude and communication as well. We let them in, and then we make them available rapid fire with 24/7 support and a no turnover guarantee, where if they quit, we cover replacement costs. So we created that, and I use FreeUp myself. I only hire freelancers in the marketplace because it's so hard to get in. Once they get in, we're bringing clients to them. They don't want to do anything to get removed. They care a lot more about making sure you and I are happy than they do about anything else, because that's their revenue stream. Now, there's a second side of it, and that's building relationships with people, which I try to do. I had someone quit on me a few months ago, which was the first time that that's happened to me in probably over a year. We have very low turnover. But when he left, we left on great terms. He's not going to do anything because we had built that relationship. So there's always going to be risk. There's things that you can do to reduce the risk, like using FreeUp or coming up with your own system of getting people that have that attitude and communication along with the skill. But there's also that relationship building that you have to do that is the easiest way to reduce your risk.
Okay, great. You're talking about the relationship building with the worker, correct?
Yeah, and there's always a chance that someone could screw you over, even if you build a long relationship. But I'm talking about percentage-wise. The better relationships that you have, the lower risk that you are going to have.
So I think that it was you that was sharing with me that the psychology of people in the Philippines, or let's just say outside the United States, they're more interested in having that long-term relationship or long-term employee relationship versus freelancer. Like it's almost, you can get better people if you say, here, I'm going to pay you X amount per month. Would you say that's incorrect or right?
That wasn't me. Part of it's true. It really depends on the person. And we have plenty of US freelancers that are incredibly talented and loyal and all that stuff. I mean, one of the biggest reasons that it's just easier to maintain someone in the Philippines is just the cost. Because let's say I find someone that I like in the Philippines, and let's say their base pay is $5 an hour. Well, if I double their pay to 10, they're going to be pretty loyal. It's pretty hard for them to match that. If I bring them up to 15, I have them for life. Not everyone, but again, we're talking in percentages.
Right.
With the US, it's a little bit harder to do that. I mean, even if you take someone who's $30 an hour and you bump them up to 40, eventually they get to the point where maybe they're worth 50. And sometimes it's hard to justify that once you get to a certain point. So that's where I see the issue more than the actual people and like their culture and their background. Because I mean, we have US freelancers that have been on the FreeUp marketplace for 3 years with plenty of long-term clients doing projects, and there's really never issues. But then there's also US freelancers that the second that they get a higher pay, they're out the door, as you've seen. So, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So for me, as someone who's going to be a client of FreeUp, what's the cost?
Yeah, so it's free to sign up. There's no monthly fee. There's no minimums. There's no obligation. It's in our best interest to get you people you like. You can stop using us at any time. The fee is with the hourly rate or the fixed price rate. We take 15% with the $2 minimum per hour, 15% on fixed prices. So it's free to sign up. It's free to meet people. You don't even have to give us a payment method unless you want to hire someone. And then when we bill you every week, we take that percentage out before we pay the freelancer. So if we say Bob is $10 an hour, you're paying $10 an hour, nothing else.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, I mean, I love this service. It's awesome. And I've been using Odesk, and I reached out to Nathan. Actually, I reached out to my Facebook group and said, who's the best at, hiring and managing overseas? And I got introduced to Nathan. I mean, so that's what happened with my network. And he's really good. You're really good at structuring things where people can come through the system. But now you and I shared this with you, and I share it publicly too, is that I'm not a systems girl, so me thinking about creating this big document or some big training manuals, like I'd rather sit by a pool with a margarita or I don't know, be run by hippos or something. That just drives me crazy. Do you have any kind of, I don't know, what advice would you give someone who's like me? I'm more of a sales and marketing out there, and creating some kind of structure would, I'm not the one that reads the manuals for the bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, one of two things either has to happen if you're not going to do it yourself. You either need to hire a CEO or get a partner that is more systems and processes. I mean, with my business partner, Connor, he's much more like you. He's more on the marketing. He's great at getting clients and all the lead generation and all the content and stuff. He's fantastic. But he's not a system person. So I compliment him very well because I can make things run very flawlessly. So that's one option. The other option is to just hire a freelancer. We live in a pretty cool time where you don't have to hire someone in the US for 40 hours a week anymore or pay them $100,000 a year. You can hire someone that can be a project manager remotely for 5 hours a week. Maybe it's 15 hours a week up front until you get it organized, and then they just check in with you for a few hours. So that's a really good strategy. And I've done it for things that I'm not good at. I mean, for development, neither Connor and I are developers, but we still have a lot of dev work that needs to get done. And how am I supposed to manage developers when I don't know how to develop? So we hired a developer that also can project manage, and then hired other developers that work underneath him. And we talk to him in a project management sense, and he translates it to a dev sense. So it's the same type of concept.
I love that. Okay, that's great. That makes sense. And yeah, we are living in an amazing world that we can do this anywhere, anywhere. And I think it's awesome. So, okay, great. Well, I mean, like, what else can we talk about? What else can we share and help other entrepreneurs who are just getting started, or people that are saying, hey, I really want to scale? Because I think one of the biggest challenges right now is agencies. In e-com business is the big ones. There's a lot of e-com businesses, obviously, Amazon, non-Amazon, Shopify, that are doing really well. They want to scale. And we're in an economic boom right now here in the United States anyway, and I think across the world. And I don't think it's slowing down for a while. But how do we really keep things going in such a way where, it's kind of like managing the ship? How do you do that? Do you have a software or anything specifically that you want to share?
So I keep it very basic, and FreeUp is at about a $9 to $10 million a year run rate. And we use Skype, we use Trello, we use Jira for managing developers, and that's pretty much it. And it's very organized because we have group chats that everyone can go to for different things. I have a group chat with my accounting, I have a group chat with my devs, and it's all marked in favorites. And you can do the same thing in Slack or whatever software you're comfortable with. That's not really the point, but you can keep it very organized just by doing those meetings. In terms of scaling, one of the biggest things that I've done is I focus on low risk, high reward situations. And that means investments that if they don't go well, I'm not becoming homeless. I'm looking for small amounts of money that I can put into different things. And if they work, I put more money in. And if they don't work, I pull it back. And an example of that is my lead generation team. I hire people in the Philippines that'll constantly reach out to podcasts, to partners, to potential clients. Mm-hmm. Very, very low risk. It doesn't cost very much. And when I land a client, it can be very high reward. Same thing for my Twitter and my Instagram. I hired an agency off the FreeUp platform to run my Instagram every month. It costs a few $100s. What's the worst case scenario? I fire them after 3 months and lose $600. What's the best case scenario? It's one less thing that I'm not good at that I don't have to do anymore. It's getting clients. It's already getting clients. And that can take off and grow my brand. So not every single piece of marketing and scaling works for every single business. You have to figure out what works for yours. And the best way to do that is by focusing on every little low risk, high reward situation that you can and adjusting to the market. Okay, got it. Okay, great. Well, I think probably people are going to be asking you about the Instagram person here soon. Okay, great. Well, Nathan, I just love what you're doing. I think it's great. You and I both we lived in Orlando, or you live in Orlando now, and I used to live in Orlando in Winter Park. Before we get going, where can people find your company? Where can they get a hold of you? And what do they need to get started? Yeah, so if you go to freeup.com with 3 E's, my calendar's right at the top. You can book a time. I'd love to talk to you about your business and how I can help. If you create an account, mention this podcast, get a free $25 credit, and me and my team are there to do everything we can to help your business. Awesome. I love the fact that you're making it simple, like Skype, Trello, and that's it, right? Pretty easy to contact. Any social media channel, my number's on the site, my calendar's there. Pretty easy to contact. I love that. That sounded cool. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, all right. I appreciate your time. This is Heather Havenwood. You're listening to Heather Havenwood, The Win, and Nathan. And one more time, what's your website? Freeup.com with 3 E's, FREEUP.com. Why did you name it that? So when we first started, e-commerce was our focus. So the 30 stood for e-commerce. We couldn't get the one with 2 E's, but now it's just kind of, I don't know, it's how we're known. Maybe we'll buy the one with 2 E's someday, but for now it's 3. I get it. Okay. I was just curious. There's Freescale here in Austin. So I always hear in my head Freescale, free up. Okay, everyone, this is Heather Havenwood. Go check him out at freeup.com. And again, this is heatherhavenwood.com.